There was one day that I will always remember for the rest of my life, and that day was an episode of Steven Universe. Now you might think, how could such a happy, cheerful, adventurous show go wrong? Well, I'll tell you. I had gotten home and did my normal routine, do my homework and get something to eat, etc. My mom had called me down telling me that she had to go walk one of her friend's dog because she said her friend was at work. So I was home alone. Normally my brother would be with me, but he went with my mom, and my dad was at work. So I was lying in bed on my phone chatting to some friends on an app called CO.AG when I looked up to see a Cartoon Network that was advertising New Thursdays. It said coming up next was Steven Universe, one of my favorite Cartoon Network shows other than Pokemon, Regular Show, and Teen Titans Go. I posted on the app from earlier saying to my followers that I would be back soon. I turned off my phone to set it beside me and turned up the TV. I was pretty sure this was supposed to be that Uncle Grandpa Steven Universe crossover, so I was excited, but I didn't get what I expected. The episode started with the normal title theme for the show, which I had always loved to hum to. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the theme, but when it got to the title of the episode, that's when it got strange. The normal clothesline that held Steven's clothes was snapped, and Steven's shirts and pants were on the ground, dirty and a bit shredded, but not enough that they were completely apart. In the title, a bit of a lighter tint than the usual faded gems. Huh? I thought. The episode was supposed to be named Say Uncle. I went to the guide and it said the title for the crossover. I thought maybe at the last minute Cartoon Network decided to air a different episode than they had thought to come before the crossover. But man, I was disappointed. The episode started inside the house, but it was a bit quiet. Steven came in through the screen door, looking a bit sad, but not in a depressed sort of way. Just in his normal sad face. It was raining outside, so I thought he was just sad because he couldn't be out there. Suddenly Amethyst and Garnet came through the warp pad, but Pearl was missing. I had noticed that Amethyst had a tear run down her cheek, and it looked like a normal cartoon style. Very bright blue and not clear. Not hyperrealistic at all. I was a bit surprised by this, seeing how Amethyst is normally hyper and cheerful of the group. I went on Pic Collage and asked for the Steven Universe fans to chat with me about the new episode. Surprisingly, a few of my followers and friends were seeing the exact same thing I was. For some reason, the episode went to commercials already. I decided to chat about what was going on. We referred to each other by parts of our usernames, so this is how our conversation went. Rubix, Foxy, Creepy, did you guys see that? Rubix, Tails, we all have saw that. Other Steven Universe fans are spamming posts and stuff about this. Foxy, I just don't understand what's going on though. Why are Steven's clothes like that? Rubix, I honestly don't know. Maybe it has something to do with Lion? Creepy, possibly. But Lion's always loyal to Steven and would never do this. Tails, well, by the way, where is Pearl? Maybe that's what MFS was crying about, Pearl being gone. Suddenly, I heard that show was coming back from the commercials. Me, guys, it's back on. We all continued to watch the show, and it came back to where it were, but Steven was hugging Garnet and MFS, sobbing. It was his normal voice, not his realistic sob, but his normal crying. Then for the first time in that episode, someone said something. Garnet, Steven, everything's going to be okay. Steven, no, Pearl's gone. She's gone forever. I was shocked and I looked down at the conversation. Pearl's gone? Creepy, gone how? Is she dead? The show wouldn't get that dark, guys. Rubix, guys, look. I looked at the TV. Lion comes through the door and is carrying Pearl's spear. Lion walks up to the others and drops it on the ground. It is snapped in half, but Lion didn't do it. It was obvious it wasn't bitten in half, but forcefully pulled apart. Steven, how did this even happen? Garnet put a hand on Steven's shoulder and started telling him the story. Garnet, as you know, our gems are the source of all of our power. If we were to get weak, our gems would lose power and thus fade. Because of this, we would no longer be able to go on, and we just fade out of existence. We tried our best to cure Pearl, but we were too late. This shocked me. Pearl had faded away? Suddenly this all made sense. Faded gems. The gems can fade away. I looked at the TV again. Stephen, I wish she was still here. He started sobbing again. The episode faded back to the normal credits. This was too dark. I couldn't believe what I just saw. I looked back down at my phone. Rubik's, what is it? Is Pearl dead? Me, no, she lost her power. She simply faded away. Foxy, guys, the TV. Creepy. I've never seen a Cartoon Network post commercials like this. I looked at the TV in the normal CN font. It says, "We are very sorry for the inconvenience. This episode is never meant to be aired." We now return to what normally was scheduled. Then the Steven Universe crossover came on. I was surprised to see that episode. Were all the gems supposed to fade away eventually? Even Steven? Me and my friends occasionally talk about the episode, but not much. I will never forget that one fateful Steven Universe episode. Did anyone record of this? I mean, come on. There were DVRs in the 2014s. Just tell me if someone recorded this or not. And that, my pretties, was Steven Universe Faded Gems. A Steven Universe, lost episode creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story. I personally really thought it was a really good Steven Universe creepypasta. I mean, yeah, I know there are some cliches in this story, but I personally have to say that since this is a really good, interesting creepypasta, I personally have to really say, with Steven Universe, I mean, I can definitely say that it's definitely one of the good ones. I can say that it was pretty good. I mean, I personally really enjoyed it a lot. I thought this was a really good story. Now, I'll leave a link in the description for any of you guys who are looking into wanting to read it. So, this story is definitely one I definitely personally really enjoyed. I thought it was really well made and really well done. So, I definitely have to say there's definitely a lot of good stories that I personally have to say. I mean, here's the thing. There Steven Universe is a pretty good show. I personally love it. I thought it was well made and done. I personally really enjoyed it. However, I definitely will have to say that this story was obviously really new and really well done. I personally thought it was really neat and well done. I personally have to say that this is definitely a good one. Now, I mean, I personally liked the grammar. I thought it was really well done. Sentence structure was good. Storyline was good. And this is actually a pretty original creepypasta. I mean, to be fair, I know there are a few cliches that I do know that are in this story, but this story manages to work them pretty well. And that I could definitely say it's really amazing. So, I guess with that being said, and that being the case, I personally really enjoyed this a whole lot. I thought this was really neat and well done. Now, with that being the case and with that being said, um, yeah, I definitely don't know who the author of this story is. So if I do find out who the original author is, I'll be sure to give him proper or her proper credit. So, anyways, with that being said, I personally really enjoy this story and it's really good. So, anyways, like I'm gonna say right now, this is actually a really interesting concept. I personally really enjoyed this one a lot. I know this is an older story, so it has been out for a while, but I personally really enjoyed it a lot. So I definitely have to say this is definitely one of the few lost episode pastas I can say that were good. Now, anyways, with that being said, and that being the case, like I'm always gonna say, and like I always continue to say, this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you disagree with it, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these stories. This is just simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. While it's a really enjoyable story, I personally like. However, though, I do notice that there is a few cliches I do know that are in this story, but at least they're excusable because I can see it being the case and stuff. So with that being said, like I'm always gonna say, yeah, pretty good story, and I'll leave a link to this description if you guys haven't. So anyways, with that being said and that being the case, what did you guys personally think of this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section down below. I'm Shadow the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and if you enjoyed this channel, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. If you guys want to go follow me on my socials such as Blue Sky, follow me on Twitter, follow me on DeviantArt, as well as my backup channel known as Miss Dark Shigo. Links to all those will be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow me on there. And as always, I'll be catching you guys all in the next video. So as always, roll the outro, because I'm out. What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, stay pretty.